Hello and welcome to another video. Today it's Q&A time. A while back I sent out an email and I basically asked you to ask me some questions. And I have a load of questions here. Now the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do a separate video for actual playing type stuff where I might need a guitar of some sort. And this is just going to be general random questions. So let's get going. Number one, Tuomo, my good Swedish colleague, asks, opinion of the new generation of shredders. Are they sacrificing melody to benefit skill? The age-old question of shred, is it even music? Well, personally, I don't really listen to the new generation of shredders. I can't remember when I've last heard a shredder that I've ended up really enjoying. I mean, you have people like Tosin Abasi, I guess Tuomo is referring to those types of people, and but I don't really listen to them because they do nothing for me. So I'm not sure. I love technical music, but there has to be something. I do enjoy melodies, and maybe there is a case to be made that some shredders are sacrificing melody for technical ability. But then again, I do listen to lots of music that you could make the same case against, that there's no melody, it's just see, I don't know. Why did I lead with such a tough question? For me, there's something, if the people playing, if it's guitar music, if it's rooted somehow in blues or in that kind of bends and vibrato. I mean, those are really the main things. If you can do those, you can do anything else. For me, that is. So a lot of those, I don't know, rambling answer leads to dissatisfying conclusion. Sorry, Tuomo. I don't know. I don't like them personally. So, in short, yeah, someone like Tosin Abasi. I don't like him. Sue me. Next question. Do you think amp and effects emulation, I think it's simulation, will someday do away with tube amps? Short answer, yes. Slightly longer answer, not in the near future. Not in the foreseeable future, I think. They sound good, some of them. The more high-end stuff, like the Fractal or the Kemper, does sound good, but there's just something as cheap as the Harley Benton Tube 5 or Tube 15 through proper speakers, it's just so good. And it's a feel thing when you play. I mean, I've listened back to recordings where I've played a Fractal Audio Axe-FX, and I think it sounds great. And I've listened back to recordings of me playing the Plexi, and I think it sounds great. But it's in that moment of playing that you get a different vibe from the tube amp, the valve amp, than you get from a modeling thing. It just doesn't feel the same. Maybe, it could even be a volume thing, partly, but there's just something in a proper valve tube amp. And I think it's going to be that way still for quite some time. It's going to get better. They'll be narrowing the gap, but yeah, not in the foreseeable future. Which, on an aside, is why I think you should invest your money in tube or valve amps instead of something like an Axe-FX, because those will plummet in price. So if you think of it as an investment, that is. Okay, Luis asks, how many guitars do you own and what do you think of made in Mexico Strats? I don't know. I think I have 11. I'll do a separate video I've been planning to do one anyway, of my gear. So I'll do a separate one on guitars later on. I think it's 11. And made in Mexico Strats, the ones that I've come across, the ones that I've encountered, I've really liked them. they've been really good for the money, and even kind of like these are actual guitars that you could actually play. And yeah, I'm planning on making a video of a made in Mexico Strat, the player series. I think that's made in Mexico. But I have really liked them. Yeah, I think they're maybe kind of value for money. They're among the best. Vega Puffin. That's probably not his real name. Why did you start YouTube channel and gear videos? Well, different reasons actually. I started my YouTube channel to put out me playing music. Gear videos kind of stumbled across by showing, doing videos of my gear, and then I kind of started reviewing gear out of curiosity, and that's changed. I'm not that curious anymore. I've tried tons of stuff. Well, I am curious, but I'm not as curious as I was. I'm still interested in new gear. That's not. I'm not disinterested. But the thing is that I've also come to view this as helping other people. I mean, where do you get info on what gear is good and what gear is not? Because YouTube can be a tricky place. Because loads of people sell stuff. So I try to give an honest opinion that I could be wrong, but at least I'll be honest. So in that sense, I'm trying to provide a service, something valuable, because there aren't too many who do honest gear reviews. Glenn Fricker comes to mind with fearless gear reviews, but not too many others. How many reviewers have you seen where they say this is absolute crap? I can't think of many. So it's trying to provide a service these days, and I still have the YouTube channel to put out music as well and give lessons. And generally, why I do all the things that I do has to do with I want to inspire people. I want to help people, and I want to do that through honesty, be it gear reviews or making music honestly, the kind of music that I want to make. And I hope that inspiration and that help will kind of lead to other people inspiring and helping others through honesty. So yeah, that's basically it. And money, of course, because I make millions. I make millions. Millions of human dollars. Mike asks, he has 4 questions. How are you and your bandmates faring during this pandemic? What are they doing to keep busy? Well, we're faring fairly well. Finland has gotten through the crisis fairly well. Most people have... Well, some people have been laid off. Some people... a friend of mine who owns a restaurant, he had to close the restaurant for a while, and he's basically been sat at home doing pretty much nothing. So it varies. My work continued, so that was kind of... I just still kept working, although I did it from home. Number 2, are you planning to record and release a new album with your bandmates in the near future? Yes. Although not with maybe the bandmates that you mean. But yes, recordings have been going on to make a progressive metal record with vocals. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Will you and your band be touring after this pandemic is over with? If so, where? I'm not sure which band he's referring to now, but if we're talking about my music, my instrumental guitar stuff, no. Short answer is no. The bands that I play in, there is interest to tour, but there are not a lot of places left in Finland, so touring is nearly impossible even for big established acts these days. Most do weekend trips, Friday, Saturday. That's the way it's become in Finland. I need to do a separate video on that topic, by the way. But yeah, Finland would probably be it. Would you consider releasing a new live album and or video for the benefits of your fans who don't get the chance to see you perform live? Absolutely. I've actually planned on making a live in the studio acoustic video. I think it's roughly 1 hour. I have the set list kind of done and I've practiced it a few times. And I'll put that on Patreon, so it will be only for patrons. And I have thoughts about actually rearranging some of my songs and doing them live in the studio with an actual proper band. So that's something as well. But we'll see. Never know. Yusri, I have no idea how to pronounce his name, asks, do you actually have a team to do all these videos, or do you just do it by yourself, sort of like a DIY thing? It's very much a DIY thing. I do all of this stuff by myself. Yeah. How sad is that? And in a week, how many hours did you spend to do a video, and how many hours did you spend to compose a song? Because you wrote many, many songs. Yes, I wrote many songs. I don't know how much time I spend making videos per week. It's quite a lot. Okay, let's make an average. I release at the moment 2 videos per week. Let's say filming a video depends on the video. Gear, it's so difficult. I'll just say 5 hours per week. If I was doing this full time, it would take a lot more time, and I would put more care into preparation and redo stuff more. Most videos I only do once, and if there's something minor there, I won't care because, like I said, I'm not doing this full time. But there is one video that I've shot that I've done 4 times because I thought it was on such an important topic that I wanted it to be spot on, because I wanted everyone to have the benefits of it, and it's how to be successful as a musician. If it's out by the time this comes out, I'll put a link to it in the description. Okay, next we have Lee, who asks quite a few different questions. How old were you when you picked up your first guitar? Do you play other instruments? Are you married with children? Do you have a day job, other hobbies and interests? Well, we'll leave the guitar bit to later because there are a few others of that same... A few people asking the same question. That's what I was going to say. Do you play other instruments? Yes, I play a bit of bass and I play a bit of drums, and I know the chords on a keyboard, and yeah, can't really play piano, but still I can fake it, and I sing a bit. So those are a few that I do play. On my records I play the bass, and but that's really it. I only play one instrument properly. Are you married with children? Yes, I am married, and I have 2 kids. Ella and Katarina, they're 8 and 6. Do you have a day job? Yes, I do. I teach music in elementary school to 13 to 16-year-old kids, and it's a great job. I love it, but it does take quite a lot more time than this stuff. So yeah. Other hobbies and interests. I play football, and you Americans are thinking of that oval thing that you throw around, which is hand oblong or something. No, I mean soccer. Football. I like playing football. I try to exercise fairly regularly, especially now that it's summer. In the winter it's really dark and really you're tired, no exercise. I don't really have time for much else. I'd like to read more, but I don't really have time for that, which is really shame, because it's a real shame, because yeah, I like reading. Okay, Terry asks, who were your early musical guitar influences? We'll leave that one for later. And he also asks, secondly, when are you going on the road? Like I said, going on the road in Finland is nearly impossible, and I've never gone on the road abroad. I have played abroad, but not done any real tours. And I don't have any plans to do any of that, because actually properly touring so that you make a living off it, It's possible, but it's hard work, and I can't. If I was doing that properly, I wouldn't be doing this and my day job. So yeah, probably not. I'm probably not going to tour, which is a shame because I really like playing live. But on the other hand, I have 2 kids and a wife, and I don't want to be away too much from the kids, even though they do my head in. Because they fight all the time. Please help me, someone. Yeah, they fight quite a lot, but I'm still gonna be there for them, and not gonna work on something that may or may not work out. In the long term, it would work out. In the short term, I'm not so sure. And especially if you're starting nationally, which is basically what you need to do, start locally and then expand nationally before you go abroad. In Finland, it's just horrible. We're roughly 5.5 million people, I think, in Finland. So it's not a lot of people, but geographically, this is a large country. So the distances are big, and yeah, touring is these days. Live venues have been killed by DJs, nightclubs, and karaoke bars. That's the way it is. No one under 30 goes to see bands play live in Finland, other than if it's a festival, because during the summer festival season we have more festivals than we have ants. It's ridiculous, and everyone goes to the festivals and they don't listen to the music. They drink themselves senseless, and it's a big party and they have fun, which is fine, great, but no one really bothers about the music. Rant over. Okay, Peter asks, if I go to your Patreon page and want to download your albums, do I have to keep paying every month as a subscriber? Do I have to agree to commit to a monthly fee for a period in order to download them? The answers are no and no. You don't actually have to pay anything if you don't want to. The way it works is you go to Patreon, there's a link in the description. You go to Patreon and you sign up, you pledge an amount, anything from $1 to, I don't remember how much it was, but you can check out the tiers there. Different tiers have different rewards. So for $10 a month, you get access to my guitar academy with lessons. But here's the thing. Let's take the $1 tier as an example. You get all of my albums in digital form, plus the post that I posted to Patreon with exclusive videos, exclusive music that you can't get anywhere else, unreleased demos and stuff that didn't make it to albums, all that kind of a thing. You can download it all, and then if you think it's no good, you don't have to pay, because you can decline payment at any time. Of course, you can pay. You can change the tier that you're in, so you can go from $5 to $2 at any time, or you can go from $5 to $10 at any time, or from 75 to 1, or whatever. And you get to keep all the stuff that you've downloaded. That's simple. And I really urge you to go check it out, because there's a whole bunch of stuff there, and I try to add stuff as much as possible. Okay, let's get to the guitar question, because quite a few here. When did you first have an interest in guitar, and who lit that fire for you? And what age did you start playing guitar? Is another one asking the question. My question is, how long have you been playing, and what made you decide to play guitar and other instruments? I was 11 when I started playing guitar, so that means that I've been playing for 14 years now. I've been playing for quite a while. I was 11 when I started. That was when my dad brought home a guitar suddenly. I tried other instruments. I tried piano, I tried drums. I took drumming lessons from my dad, he's a drummer. That ended up in us fighting, so it was no good. And yeah, he just brought home an East German lead star guitar. And it took a couple of years for it to really take off. Earliest influences, the people who lit the fire were... my interest in guitar predates me playing guitar, so I was already interested in or drawn to guitar because I remember singing Queen's guitar solos, Brian May's guitar solos. So Brian May, probably the first one who I was really interested in. The one who really lit the fire, it became a conscious thought, I want to play like that. It was Gary Moore with the song Shapes of Things, the live version. And then it's been Yngwie Malmsteen, Steve Vai, blah blah blah, list goes on, all that stuff. But I started when I was 11, and basically Gary Moore was the one who really lit the fire. Darren asks, have you ever tried wife carrying? If yes, how well did you do? If no, why? Besides Yngwie, what 5 artists or bands most inspire you to be creative or help you in a positive way, mentally or emotionally? Yeah. No, I've never tried wife carrying. I don't know why. Never thought of it. What 5 artists or bands most inspire you to be creative or help you in a positive way, mentally or emotionally? Well, these days, I would say it's not Yngwie at all. It's Devin Townsend, Snarky Puppy, a band called Vola. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Vola. Pat Metheny, Jeff Beck. Yeah. Those are maybe the ones that still, to this day, keep me interested and motivated more than others. And I've said emotionally, kind of positive, mentally or emotionally, I'd have to add Devin Townsend, because there's a huge amount of stuff that he does. The podcasts that he did during the lockdown were really interesting, and he has a really positive way about him. And one more name I would add would be Simon Sinek, who isn't a musician at all, but he helps with the mental side, staying positive and all that. And Stoic philosophy. Alejandra asks, stressed with routine and quarantine, how has your country been in that regard? Quarantine was fairly easy here. Finnish people are kind of, if the government says something, please don't do that, we say, okay, that sounds like a good idea. And we're socially distanced anyway. I personally don't know anyone, I think, who has had the disease. Maybe one, if I'm not mistaken, or 2. But because we're so few people and we live so far apart from each other, it's not as big a problem here as it's been in other places. I did a video in the beginning of the whole quarantine thing, how to get through these sucky times, and I'll link to that in the description as well, where I talked about certain mental things and stuff that you can do now that we're in lockdown. And I still think it's one of my better videos that I've done on this channel ever. So I think it's still valid points, even though lockdown might have ended here, because we're basically back to normal. But we might get a second wave, you never know. I might have to split this into 2 different videos. Actually, I think I will. Hello and welcome to another video. This is part 2 of Q&A 2020, because it just became way too long.